What's going on, guys? Don't forget, next Thursday, 6 p.m, we have restocked the DMP shirts. That's right, World Podcast Champion shirts, restocked Thursday, 6 p.m. Be there. This is the last sale of them. Once this lot is gone, we will never make these shirts again. The World Podcast 2023 World Podcast Championship shirts, restocked Thursday, 6 p.m. Be there or be square.
Just a bloke in a bar.
Does it feel like Friday to you?
It felt like Friday yesterday to me, actually.
Same.
Yeah. Well, so today just feels like nothing.
I don't know.
Clearly, it doesn't feel like Saturday.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like Saturday, but I feel like today doesn't feel like Friday.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe because I'm not doing the radio show.
Yeah. Fuck, haven't the weeks gotten
Fuck,
so much shorter?
Yeah.
Well, so much less to do at the moment.
I know, but it's gonna change. We'll start interviewing people.
Yeah.
Anyway, weird. All right, all good?
Yeah. Are you gonna? Did you say you're gonna do not just footy players?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I think so. I don't know. Give it a try.
Yeah.
Give it a try. You know what's weird is there's so many podcasts now, and it just feels strange to be one of the first ones to do it.
Yeah.
Here in this country,
It's crazy.
when you it wigs me out. I'm not saying I was the first guy to friggin' do a podcast at all, but one of the first to really sit down and speak to people of note, and just feels so strange that it's just everywhere now, which is good. I like that. I think it's awesome.
It's not and everywhere, but we'll look back in 3 years and it'll be 20 times bigger.
Yeah.
It's just growing this exponential rate.
I know. People always think people talk to me about doing podcasts, and I'm just can you give me some advice? And they kind of go, oh, well, there's already so many podcasts. There's already so many podcasts out there. Why would I just add to the noise? And it's hang on a sec. Imagine the creator of Game of Thrones was you know what? I'm not going to bring Game of Thrones to TV. Way too many TV shows. You'd be are you serious right now?
Yeah.
And that's where how long are we into TV? 50 years?
Probably, I think 60.
Let's just say 60.
50 or 60?
50,
yeah.
60 years or whatever. I mean, could you just Google that just to be sure? Let's say 50 or 60 years. We are, conservatively, let's just say we're 15 years into podcasts, which is that's being super conservative. Really, in reality, we're 2000 and let's just say we're really only 13 years, and that's still conservative. In reality, we're less than a decade.
Oh, 100%.
Podcasts here aren't even they're not even mainstream yet.
Yeah.
But the fact that radio still exists means that podcasts aren't mainstream yet. So when people go, oh, there's so many podcasts out there, I don't want to start one or whatever. I'm just first of all, terrible mindset to have, because you're almost giving yourself an excuse. You're going, oh, well, there's already so many out there. I'm not going to do it. Well, what if there's infinity out there, but you're the best?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's infinity podcasts, but you're the best. So who gives a shit?
And I guess because that's the mindset to have TV shows competing with each other. But that's because they're back in the day, they're all fighting for that primetime slot.
Yeah.
No one's fighting for that in the podcast game. I listen to I can't tell you how many podcasts I listen to and audiobooks. It's
the radio.
My life.
It's the modern day radio. It's what, back in the day, they used to turn their radio on.
Yeah.
Sit down, read a newspaper or a book. That was their downtime. And now we have, what I love about podcast is that we have this technology, wireless headphones, especially wireless headphones, where it's the first time in history that you can essentially be consuming content whilst doing something else.
Yeah.
So before, if you were reading a book, you had to read the book.
Yep.
If you're watching a show, you had to watch the show. It's really the first time, and look, maybe there's another time, first time in history where you can go, put your headphones on, consume information.
Yep.
Whilst working, whilst running, whilst working out, whilst whatever.
I promise you, if this wasn't around now and I was just doing a normal job, I wouldn't have time to read books. But I ordered Nedd Brockmann's audiobook on Wednesday night. So 1.5 days ago, I've already finished it. And I wouldn't have had time
to sit down and
in
read
the last day and a half to even open that.
Yeah. Shout out Nedd Brockmann.
Oh,
Nedd's Milk.
Nedd's Milk.
Nedd's Milk.
Yeah.
Got a brand new milk. I tell you what, that milk's going to make you strong, baby.
Oh,
I've heard, and look, this is just a rumor, that every bottle comes with a squeezed out bit of sweat from his singlet that he runs. So
that'd be a lot.
He goes into the factory after a 2, 3, 4 hour, 5, 6, 7 hour, 10 hour, 12 hour run, squeezes the shirt into each bottle as it comes by. That's the rumor I'm hearing.
I'll tell you what was crazy about his book. When I first decided to read it or listen to it, which was literally a day and a half ago, I was like, should I read this? Because like, I already listened to all his podcasts. I actually met him the other day at the Rosé thing.
Yeah, it's the first time I met him.
First time, yeah, it was awesome. And I was like, do I already know this story? Which was such a foolish thing to think.
Yeah.
The detail he goes into about, firstly, his childhood and upbringing, which is crazy. And his just the whole run was unbelievable. Like, and it's so inspiring. So I was actually on a run yesterday and I was just planning to do like a 2 or 3K.
Yeah.
But I had him in my ears. I ended up going for about 7 or 8.
Really?
Just because, and I never go for that.
So
long.
you had the spirit of Nedd inside you.
100%. And
The spirit of Nedd came inside you.
was literally coming inside me
and
as
you
I was
just
running.
Fucking, you know what? 2Ks? Nah, baby.
Nah, and I just kept going, and I'm like, it was awesome. Just I was actually so I'm not joking whatsoever. I was so inspired by some of the things that he was saying. I would highly recommend either going to the stores and buying the book or getting the audiobook. It will change how you think about everything, and it'll make you appreciate just what he went through. He goes into so much more detail than all the podcasts that you heard. It was so inspiring.
It's so go to Instagram, Nedd's Milk.
Yeah.
Give her a follow.
They're currently doing a bit of a country tour at the moment. I think they'll end up in Bondi. I think it's October 29.
Tastes good, does good. Every bottle gives back. So give her a follow. Another just Aussie battler doing his thing. That's what you want to support, the Aussie battler. You don't want to support whoever you want, but
Yeah.
you know, you got mega corporations or you got Nedd. He ran across the freaking country.
Ridiculous.
If you can't support a bloke that's willing to run across Australia,
Yeah.
you're a dog.
Yeah, 100%.
You're a straight up dog. Like, seriously, how un-Australian to not support a bloke that ran across the country?
Literally ran from Perth to Bondi Beach. And just what he went through was just mind-blowing.
Yeah. And the thing is that he could tell you every detail, but until you're in it and you experience it, you'll never know how hard it was for him to do what he did.
100%. Normally when you, do you reckon, when you listen to a podcast, you feel like you're kind of with them? Like, for example, I listen to Hamish and Andy. I'm sure people feel the same way about you. But like, I listen to Hamish and Andy. I feel like I'm in the room with them. Like, that's the podcast experience. When I was listening to Nedd's book, I felt like I was watching a movie from a distance. Like,
really?
I couldn't be part of this. Like this, I just don't have, I'm not built for this.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, no one's really built for that except for him. That's how wild it was to me.
Yeah, it's crazy. The line between sane and insane is crazy. And like, clearly I feel like, and I don't know the bloke personally, obviously, but a guy like him with that kind of intensity, that kind of grit, if he didn't have these extreme things to do, he would be a crazy person.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Because certain people are just wired differently, and clearly he's wired differently, and he needs that kind of outlet to get it out of him. I mean, again, like big psychology one, I don't fucking really know. Like, I'm talking utter nonsense. It's just an assumption. But yeah, so Nedd's Milk, give her a crack, guys. And not an ad.
Sure.
That just come out of nowhere, to be honest. So give her a crack. I always love seeing people, like a guy like Nedd, who is using such an incredible feat to his benefit. Like, his kids should benefit from that feat, know? Because think about this, okay? He did that incredible feat. You just spoke about he inspired you.
Yep. So
what monetary value can you put on the positive impact Nedd has had on this country? So why should he not be compensated in some form? Not doesn't have to be, and he didn't do it to be compensated.
No, he didn't.
But if you're sitting there going, I was inspired by Nedd, or, I consume the content or whatever, like, you know what I mean? He deserves to be compensated, or not. I don't mean a bazillionaire. I just mean like live a good life.
For sure.
Because of how much he's given to, charities, to inspiration, to the country. And that goes for, plenty of people and that do these, amazing things. And there's so many people out there that do amazing things that, you just don't even hear about. That I wish there was a way. Could you imagine if like the world flipped on its head and the better person you were, the richer you were?
Yeah, wow.
But the problem with that is good people would give the money away.
Yeah, exactly. It'd all even out a little bit.
It's like, obviously, you know, I would love to be rich one day. Like, I would love to, and I don't mean like crazy, stupid rich, but, you know, there's the ego side of me that goes, I want to be a billionaire. Yeah, I just want to fucking be a billionaire. Fuck, you know, put it to everyone that ever talks shit, everything I ever went through, blah, 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 all that kind of shit. There's that ego side. Get the nice cars, carry on like a fuckwit. Every man has that in it. Every man has it in them, like they do. But you know what? Every man has that boy in him, because that's a boy speaking. That's a boy with insecurities and, you know, trying to show everyone that he is a fucking man and you can't tell him anything. Whereas a man quells that and says, you don't need to do that. It's totally unnecessary. But I never understood people that get so rich, like billions and billions and billions of dollars. And like, what's the point?
Yeah.
There's got to be a point of diminishing returns. Like, where's the point of money where you are not, and everyone has different, you know, everyone can live their life however they want it, but where's the point where you are no longer actually doing the best in your life, you know, spending time with loved ones, you know, making sure that your kids or your wife or your community is taken care of? Where's that line?
I reckon, I'm just guessing here, making money must be like sport to them. That's what their addiction must be.
But then hoarding it.
How
it's
do they
the
do
hoarding it. It's not the making of it. I don't care. Like, make as much.
Yeah.
It's the hoarding of it that I don't understand. It's people that have, you know, $200 million just sitting in the bank. Like, why wouldn't you give that like back to the community in some way? You don't have to give all 200 million of it.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, look, maybe I'm speaking from inexperience, and, you know, I would love to sit down with someone like that wealthy. Like, okay, here's a perfect example. Mark Boris, extremely wealthy, extremely wealthy. Look how much he does for essential free to give back to his business community. Like, he does not have to do that. It is purely out of the goodness of his heart of going, okay, I made all my money. I'm going to spend, because what is the most valuable commodity? It's time. I'm going to spend my time by, you know, supporting this, helping this, like giving advice to any young businessmen and women that come up. And whereas like people that like, I never understood the ones that, you know, they make all this money, but they just hoard it. And it's almost like a sickness. It almost is like a sickness. Again, I would love to speak to one of them and say, why do you hoard it? Like, why do you feel the need to earn $2 billion instead of $1 billion? Yeah. What's the draw for you? And not even earn, but keep.
Yeah. Like if I earn that, I'd either be doing one or two things. I'd either be, I'd like to say I'd be giving it away in the best possible way, or I'd be spending the shit out of it.
Well, because like the thing, you think, oh, you're spending it on silly stuff, but at least it's going back to workers. Blah, blah, blah. And so, yeah, I never understood that. And look, I'm not sitting here saying if you've made 50 mil that you've just got to give it away. I think that's ridiculous. Yeah. But I do think like, and again, that's the question I'm asking. Where is the line where you go, okay, I have made enough money, now it's about giving back? I just feel like that, like surely every human being has that in them where they go, you know what? The line has been crossed. I've made as much money. My kids are going to be sweet. The kids' are going to be sweet. Now it is time to go. And the giving back doesn't have to be, you know, fucking doing charities. It could be creating content for people. It could be coaching a local footy team. It could be anything. It could be anything. And look, I'm still of the mind of everyone's free to do what they want. My question is more like, I would love to know a really rich person's thought process.
Yeah.
Do they go, yeah, I've tried that before and the money just gets wasted and people become greedy and then they start putting their hand out and expecting things, so I just stopped? Is that what happens? I don't know. I don't know the answer. That's what it's more of a question than a statement. It's like, I don't know what the answer is. But anyway, support Nedd. Support Nedd and support Nedd's milk. And read his book. And read his book, you dogs. Well, I can't say you're a dog because I haven't read his book, but just support him. Support the bloke.
Promise that next time you go for a run, just put his book in and you go further.
Yeah.
I promise you.
I might release an audiobook and it's just me abusing you, calling you a coward. Let us know in the comment section if you would like a motivational book and it's just me calling you soft, weak, coward, all that kind of stuff. We can do it.
Yeah.
Audio book, and I just abuse you.
Yeah, nice little off-season project.
Just off-season project, just your deep insecurities. Your dad never loved you. That's the reason why your mum left. You were always wrong in your relationships, just peppering you.
You should be insecure.
Yeah, you are actually a piece of shit. Whatever you achieve in this life, it means nothing. If the concept of infinity is real, we're all pointlessly living right now.
Yeah, you should definitely do that.
Do you reckon I should do that?
Yeah.
We're flying on a rock through space and everyone will forget who you are literally by when you die, like a couple of weeks later, pretty much.
You just sell it for like $100 and go, you just wasted all your money on
You
this.
fucking idiot. You just spent $100 to get abused.
By the way, 66 years TV.
66 years, so
Yeah.
roughly right. Oh, we haven't got to it yet. We haven't got time for it.
Yes.
Time for it. Time to open some bloke beer, baby. Woo! Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
I love when the delivery man comes with fresh cases, as he did this morning.
Yep, fresh cases right there. They're looking schmick, those
looking good.
cases. Currently, Bottle-O's in Queensland, promotion across all stores in Bottle-O in Queensland. Plus, you know the drill, guys. Independent liquor stores, get in your local, grab a case of bloke beer. It is the beer of Australian sport. You know as well as I do. There is no beer that loves sport the way we do. We live and breathe it. We are the beer of Australian sport, and it's a beautiful, easy drinking beer. Give her a crack. Get down your local, grab a 6-pack, sit back, and just enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your weekend. There's all this stuff going on in the world. There's always stuff going on in the world telling you not to just enjoy the moment. No. Enjoy the moment. You deserve to just sit back and go, I deserve to enjoy this moment. The future and the past, it doesn't exist, baby. Only now does. Does the past really exist? We don't know. We don't know.
But right now exists.
Right now exists. Right now, tomorrow doesn't matter.
No.
Tomorrow doesn't. Look, if you've got something important on, obviously, if I can prepare for it. But just enjoy the now. Don't let the world tell you that you should be unhappy. You deserve to be happy.
Just on the podcast thing from before, can I tell you a quick, kind of a full circle moment? So obviously, people would know my previous job was New South Wales Rugby League, and I formed a pretty good relationship with Freddie. But the first time I ever met Freddie was out in Narrabeen at like this junior camp. And I drove out there, never met him. I was nervous as hell. I was probably like 20 years old, nervous as hell. And what I did to get to like know him, I put on your podcast with him to like get a bit of context.
Yeah.
And now we've kind of come full circle.
Yeah. That was incredible that he came on the podcast. I actually took it down because the sound was stuffed.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you remember it, but the sound stuff started halfway through, and I was like, you know what? Like, Freddie is such an icon, and I took it down ages ago, years and years ago.
Yeah.
He's such an icon that I want to do it again, but, me being better at what I do, I just didn't execute as well I wanted to execute it, plus the sound stuffed up. But this was like, Freddie, think about this, like Freddie Fittler, doesn't know me from Barstow. Honestly, he probably didn't even know that I played NRL. Like, I'm a fucking nothing to Freddie Fittler. And I think I randomly messaged him on Facebook. Like, it might have been Facebook, or I think it was Facebook. And in the city, come down, sat down, did the potty, like, fucking nice as. This would have been like, what do you reckon, 2015, 16?
Well, I listened to it in January 2016.
Yeah. So 2016. Like, most people listening right now would have had no idea what the locker room was back then.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you've got some OGs that, have stuck around for the whole time. But yeah, came, sit down, gave us such a good interview and just such a legend. And that's why, I always have just been such a big fan of Freddie. For him to do that and help a guy out like me, one of the biggest names in Australian sport, a podcast, he wouldn't even know what a podcast is. Hired out this room in the city, set it all up, sat down, and I remember that I was really nervous for that one because, again, it's Freddie Fittler.
Yeah, for sure.
And gave me such a good interview, but I would love to redo it, like, especially after everything he's achieved since then.
Yeah, because that was 2 years before he even coached.
Yeah. So that I will always be in Freddie's debt for him doing that. And there's plenty of other people too. I remember Anthony Mundine, I think it was in my first 10 episodes. He agreed to come on, sat down, and he didn't know me from a bar of soap. There's heaps of them. I mean, I could list them on and on. But yeah, podcasting, it is strange that, it's strange that it's so big now. And, you think back to those times when you're working in a coal terminal covered in coal, getting in the shower at work at Port Kembla, driving up to Sydney, unpacking everything, sitting down. And could you have ever expected that, this is where it would end up with, podcasting in Australia? Probably not.
No.
Probably not. No way. And then, this is here. And again, I'm not saying I was the first one to do it. Maybe one of the first ones, but
Definitely
it is, crazy to see, just how far it's all come. And, it's the whole company's built around podcasting now, it's absolutely wild. Absolutely wild. It's almost, Yeah. Yeah, it's just strange. Very, very strange. Oh, anyway, Matty, what have you been doing, bro? What have you been doing?
Kind of like, it's been a pretty nice couple of weeks because you kind of get, don't you reckon? Like, because we do shit every day and it's busy, and I'm sure everyone's the same when they're like in the hustle and bustle. But then you get like, you know, if it's like just 10% less to do, and you kind of just like, it's kind of nice.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice. So it's been good. I tell you what I was thinking the other day. Actually, today when I was walking around, it was nice and sunny. I was like, fuck, imagine if footy season was in summer. Like, how shit would winter be? Because summer's already great, so it doesn't need footy season. But like, I get to the grand final and like, footy, all right, whatever, summer's coming up, let's go. And then you get to around January, February, then you're over summer, you're like, all right, let's go for footy. We live in it's really great how it is in Sydney or in Australia.
In Australia. We are so lucky to live here. It's a joke.
It's the best.
It's actually a joke that we live in this country. You know, traveling Europe was so incredible and I loved it. I love the history but the living standard that we have, and I'm not speaking for every group, I'm just speaking for myself and people, you know, similar to myself. It's beautiful. Like the fact that you can go and get a job, you know, earn 50 to 60K, 70, let's say 70K, 50, 60, 70K, around there. Yeah. You know, you can essentially do that unqualified. Like you can essentially do that unqualified. You don't even need to go to uni for that. And then you've got the beach you can just go down to. It's, you know, we've got the roads are all pretty good. And I know people go, you know, we like to complain about things and the roads are this and we don't have this. Mate, compared to some other countries, it is a joke how good we have it.
Oh, we got the CBD 10 minutes from the frigging beach. And the best harbour in the world.
Like, think of places like the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
Like, think of places like Cairns even. You know, like, it is truly such a good country to live in. So lucky, so lucky. Speaking of that, I saw Tino got interviewed and asked about the Samoa and Australia thing.
Yeah.
And he said it was his dad's suggestion that his dad always wanted him to play for Australia. Right. And his dad, I'm assuming, is the Samoan one.
Yeah.
And he said because his dad basically said, and Tino said, it's a way of saying thank you to Australia for giving my father an opportunity to come here and build a better life.
Is that what he said?
Basically, paraphrase.
Great.
And when he said that, I was like, fuck yes, Tino. Fucking love that shit.
That's great.
Fucking makes me love, like, seriously, like, I am all for everyone being proud of their heritage. And I know Tino would be proud of his Samoan heritage and, you know, all the Polynesian and Kiwi, everything. I'm all for that. But sometimes I feel like as an Aussie, we don't get to be proud sometimes of our being Australian, you know, our heritage. And the fact that he is saying, like, you know, my father his father is saying thank you to Australia for the opportunity he was given. Like, it honestly gave me tingles. Like, it gave me tingles and being like,
awesome.
Fuck, that is so hectic. That's so hectic.
I love that. I love when you get those opportunities because, as you said, for some reason we don't get the opportunity to be proud of the country. But when things like Ash Barty happen or like Volkanovski this week.
Yeah. Kathy Freeman.
Kathy Freeman, obviously the best one. The Matildas during the year. It's just the best. Everyone kind of unites.
Yeah. So seeing that with Tino was really good to see. And I just loved his honesty, you know, like be hard for those boys, Tino and Payne Haas, because think about how many people would obviously message him putting shit on him, being like, bro, pray for your blood, play for your blood and all that kind of stuff. But when you're born in Australia and you've been brought up here, like, they love this country.
Of course.
Like, they're Australian too. Like, they are just as Australian as you or me. The only difference is they have a different heritage.
Yeah.
That's the only difference. You know, Australia is a multicultural society. You know, obviously we've got our Indigenous people that are true Australian. Like, they're the ones that can say, this is my heritage, this is where I'm from.
Yeah.
Whereas everyone else, like, you know, you at some stage you have come from someone that has migrated here.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's so cool to see him say that. He's just so, like, he's so articulate and switched on. It just made me really proud as an Australian that he said that. And that's not, I'm not sitting here saying that eventually he can't play for Samoa. Like, not at all. Like, if he does, I respect it. All good. I know a lot of people there's been a bit of chat around eligibility. I think we need to, I like, the origin chat is really hard for me. I don't know what the answer is. I really don't. Like, we have to keep our tradition in origin. We have to keep it special. But the international game, I think we need to, because like some people are saying, when you hit 18, you've got to choose who you play for and stick with that. But geez, that'll kill the international game.
I know.
it'll kill the international game. Because like, okay, so let's say you made all match payments equal across the board, and Tonga, Samoa, Kiwis, everyone got the same match payment as Australia did. And they, so you're 18 years old and you choose Australia because part of you was like, you know what, I want to play for Australia, even though I could get same for Samoa or Tonga. But what happens if you stop making that Australian side a bit later? Are we going to rob Samoa or Tonga of an opportunity to get that gun player because he didn't make the Australian side, and vice versa? I don't know. I just think that the international, there'd be so many guns sitting on the sideline if that did happen, because I just don't know if it will work. I think we need to like make a little bit of a sacrifice of the eligibility at the moment so the international game grows.
Totally agree. I think the flip-flopping is a little strange, I must admit.
It's weird, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, anyone that pretends it's not weird is because we're all nationalistic.
For sure.
I'm proud as fuck to be Aussie. Like, I want Tino and Haas and all the boys to play fucking for Australia for the rest of their life. Because to me, I know he has Samoan heritage, but to me, he's Australian.
Yep.
But I am not so selfish as to say to him that he can't represent his heritage or his father's side, or understand that there is nuance in loyalty. Like, it's not black and white. Like, how can I say, as a person that was born in Australia, my parents, my grandparents, how could I know what it's like for an immigrant Samoan that's first generation?
Exactly.
I'll never know.
Yeah.
I just don't know. So I just think it's better for the game.
I totally agree
that we allow it.
Yeah, and like, the international game is, in the men's game anyway, because obviously women's game is the biggest growth point. But if we're just talking about men's, that's the biggest opportunity we have to grow something. Origin is already at its peak. We just got to maintain that. NRL is getting better every year. The international game is just slowly growing. Like, look at Tonga and Samoa like 10 years ago compared to them now. Like, they are superpowers now, which is or getting to that point.
Yeah.
We can't rob them of that. We can't go backwards. No way.
No, we can't go backwards. I look, and look, to be fair, like, Hammer played for Samoa.
Yeah.
There are quite a few players that played for Samoa that ended up playing for Australia in this round. And it's like, you can't pick and choose. You can't go, oh, it's okay when they come from play for Australia, but they're not allowed to go back to Samoa. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we can't sit here as Aussies and go, you know what, when you're 18, you choose and you stick with it. We're just as guilty as anyone of saying, like, going to the Hammer, who could have stayed in that Samoa side, been a big part of it, and going, we want you to play for us now. Like, we're just as guilty. So I don't know. I just think that for the growth of the international game, we've got to be a little bit more open to people moving around.
For sure. And also, a good example is Crichton, who is going to be in the blue jersey, blue as in New South Wales, and Samoa jersey for a long time. But he said he did pledge his allegiance, but he pledges his allegiance to Samoa, but also to New South Wales. So, like, you can't have one and not the other. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, as I said, everyone feels weird about it. I'm sure there's Samoans. I mean, we know there's Samoans out there going, fuck, Tino and Haas, your heritage, or Hammer, you were just playing for us.
Yeah. But there's Aussies that are saying, fuck, Crichton, play for New South Wales. Why aren't you playing for Australia?
Yeah, exactly.
But that's how it should be.
That's how it should be right now.
For sure.
If we get the game to a point where, let's say in 20 years, where the international game is fucking booming, and like, that's when we could sit back and go, you know what? Let's take away the growth and talk about you pick and you stick.
Yeah.
Because then that will take the game to the next level.
Yeah.
Because then like, this is 100% what he wants to do, loyal as anything to this, nation. So, yeah, I think we have to give a little leeway there. I really do. I think we'd be crazy to not allow players to go, if I don't make Australia, I want to play for Tonga. Or if I, play for Tonga for a little bit, but then I start playing really well and I want to play for Australia, I want to do that.
Yeah.
So
I think as well, if we, I know it's very easy to say, there's a million factors, but if we did have the 10, 12 weeks, then the 3-week origin period in the middle, and it's just origin, then season, then international, they're kind of far enough removed to like not clash, I reckon. I know Cam Smith made some really, really good points about the origin to Australia eligibility, which to be honest, I was 100% on the do whatever you want side until I heard that, and that brought me back. And I was like, oh, wow, that's a really good point. But I still agree with the initial point. I just think they're far enough removed that it would be sweet.
Yeah, like, look, it'd be super strange if in 20 years most of the players are playing for Tonga, Samoa, Fiji, Cook Islands. You know what I mean? That'd be weird as anything. So that's where, if anyone pretends like they have the hard and fast answer and the right or wrong, like they're just not telling the truth.
No.
There is nuance. It's a tough question. You have to weigh up. Do we want the tradition and, sticking to it, or do we want to grow the game? So yeah, it's a really, really the origin situation. I seriously just don't know what the answer is.
Yeah.
Because my immediate reaction is, as a Queenslander, you pick your state and you stick with it, and then obviously you play for Australia. But I understand that that's a very selfish way to look at it when you look at the changing demographics of the game. The game isn't what it was 20, 30 years ago. It is basically like 50, 60% Polynesian and Indigenous.
Yeah.
So it's just different.
And also, it's going to get to a point as well, this is to that point, where Samoa and Tonga aren't going to be tier 2 nations. Like, they'll end up being on the same level as all of us, Australia, New Zealand, England, and there'll be the five teams. So then, how can you rob a Kiwi eligible person, like Kieran Foran, for example, who moved here when he was like whatever? Like, it's gonna get to a point where New Zealand people will say, well, why can't we play Origin as well? So then it's going to be even weirder. Yeah,
it's going to be even stranger. It's super, it is such a hard discussion. I don't know what the right answer is. I seriously do not want, I guess the other option is you go the opposite direction and you go, you know what? You've got Origin, you shut the NRL down for a month during the season.
Yeah.
You have international Origin on the same time.
Yeah.
And then people just choose.
Yeah.
They just choose. They go, whatever means more to you, you play for it. So that means that the Polynesian sides and the Kiwis and that, they get as much time playing international footy as the state of origin people do.
Yeah.
And then, whoever wants to play for Queensland, and New South Wales and Australia, they get to. And if you can somehow make the money kind of similar, that's the other option where you just go, boom, middle of the year, magic month, international footy, rep footy, and you give everyone an opportunity to play for who they want to play for.
See, I don't think I'd like that, purely because I reckon if you do that, you'll end up just weakening both. I reckon just keep Origin there, keep international there, and then they'll both, international grow.
See, I don't think you would. Think back to 2020, the Queensland side. A lot of reserve graders in that side. Was it any less of a spectacle?
No, it wasn't.
So it's like,
I'd still rather the best of the best playing both though.
But it wouldn't be that low. Okay, so you go and you look at, all right, right now, the New South Wales side, you would lose To'o, you would lose Critter. You would probably lose, let's just say, Daniel Tupou if he was eligible.
Yeah,
Jerome Luai. There are guns.
Junior.
There are guns that could replace those guys.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You'd have Campbell Graham, Latrell Mitchell, Tom Trbojevic, Bradman Best. So I just don't know whether it would affect. I really don't know if it would affect.
True.
That much.
True.
So yeah, again, I don't know whether that's the answer. It's so tough.
So tough. There's positives and negatives to every
everywhere
option.
you look, there are positives and negatives.
For sure.
At the moment, I kind of feel like, look, it's not like, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
At the moment, we got some boys that play Origin and then play for, Samoa or Tonga or whatever. But at the same time, look how good Origin is right now.
Yeah.
And the international game is growing. Just leave it the way it is.
Yeah.
If you qualify as the 12 or 13-year-old, whatever. But then it's like, okay, Victor Radley, does he get to go play for England?
And
then come back?
Yeah.
And then the Kiwis as well.
So that England and New Zealand, that makes it
Which
real
is
tough.
weird because it's like, why are England and New Zealand different to Samoa and Tonga?
They're not.
They're not.
Yeah.
They're literally not.
Yeah, it's just because we haven't experienced it yet.
Yeah.
So
super
maybe we'll
strange.
get used to it. Who knows?
Speaking of changing things, also, Packer Up Boys brought to you by our legend partners over at Sportsbet. They've got a brand new feature coming very soon. I cannot wait to announce it, guys, when it does come out. But if you're going to have a punt, you do it with Sportsbet, the best in the business. Absolute legend partners, guys. Been so good to work with. They've been so supportive of Bloke. I can't express to you enough how important their support is to Bloke's growth. Like all this content that you see, all this growth that you see, we need partners like Sportsbet to support us, to help us out. And they've been legends to deal with. Never had an issue, never had a drama. Really, really flexible. It's like really flexible, guys. So really cool. You see the Sportsbet brand, but you don't understand. It's people behind it.
For sure.
And the people that work at Sportsbet, legends.
And what you see on Mondays with Hammy kind of reflects their business.
I mean, that's why he's been around at Sportsbet for so long.
Sure, yeah.
So if you're going to have a punt, you do it with Sportsbet, guys. You do it the best in the biz. Make sure to gamble responsibly. You win some, but you lose more. Don't punt what you can't afford, guys. Just a little dabble here or there. But yeah, speaking of changes, 5-minute sin bins. NRL are reportedly seriously considering using 5-minute sin bins 2024. Gavin Badger doesn't think it's a good idea. He said, in the current game, 5 minutes is 2 sets. For the benefit you could get out of a professional foul, I don't think it's big enough deterrent. I know that teams will manipulate that as much as they can in areas. With sin bins becoming more regular, teams do a lot of work defending with 12 players. So to only have it do it for 2 sets and generally looking at professional fouls, which are try-scoring situations, you're more than willing to give that up if it means you're saving a try. Worth noting that 5-minute sin bin was abolished in 91, scrapped after concerns of inconsistency. Now, also, you could make the argument that we'll just make it so professional fouls are 10 minutes and not 5 minutes.
I reckon that's the only way you can do it.
But I think, you know what? I don't want it.
Oh, no way.
I don't want it because, guys, let's fucking just keep the game the way it is. Like, let's just try to make instead of introducing something new to fix the 10 in the bin problem, let's just get better at being more consistent at the 10 in the bin first. Let's try that first. And if we're so bad in a few years that we can't sort it out, then let's look at other options. But this idea that's like, you know what, stuff it. Let's bring 5 in the bin. I just don't like it.
Like, I know, even if they make this is 5 minutes, this is 10 minutes, there's going to be blow-ups here and there. And then, what if there's a swinging arm or something and
it will create more drama.
For sure. People are going to be like, that should be a send-off. That's not worth 5 minutes. And then will there be more send-offs?
Yeah.
Like, keep it 10. Please keep it 10 minutes.
Like, please keep it 10 minutes. What I don't get is like, oi, bro, like just ref it the way that the Origin and the Grand Final was ref.
I know.
And say to the players, look, I'm going to let you boys sort it out. And then I'll step in when I feel like the game is not being played the way I think it should be played out. And so that's when they know, like, look at every time Melbourne get into finals games, what do they do the first 20 minutes? They lie all over the plate. And so then the ref has a decision to go, I'm going to start pinging you.
Yep.
So I'll give you the first few sets. Like I'll give you the first, 4 sets. But if you take the piss, I'm just going to ping you. And so you can't complain to me when I've told you before the game that that's what's going to happen. On the flip side of that, the ref might go, so Storm are lying in the ruck, Broncos are lying in the ruck. That's the way we're playing this game today. I mean, look at the grand final. Penrith came out.
Exactly.
They fucking holding down constantly. And so it took Broncos a little bit to catch onto it. Broncos caught onto it. They started holding on a little bit. But eventually what happened was the game opened up and the play the balls became really quick because it wasn't stop and start with all these freaking penalties.
And we got one of the greatest grand finals of all time.
Like, seriously. I mean, the further we get away from that grand final, the more it, in my opinion, almost cements itself as the greatest grand final ever. Like, when you really think what happened.
Yeah.
Like, even when you talk about, like, Joey and the situation that down the short side, like, think about, like, we were watching a three-peat. We were watching Cleary at 25. We were watching, his second Clive Churchill. We were watching down by a record margin in a grand. You know what I mean? There are so many historic things in that grand final.
For sure.
And also the quality of it, at least the quality and physicality for I know Broncos' first fucking 20 minutes was terrible, but defensively, the quality from Broncos in the first 20 was unbelievable.
Yeah, I think at absolute minimum, it's already in the 89, 97, 15. Now 23. It's definitely
it's in the combo.
It's in that class for sure.
It has to be like if you have one of them, you can't say like you can't go okay 2015 is way better than 23. Like it's definitely in the combo.
But the funny thing is like even though the ending of 15 probably and the ending of Joe was probably like the two best. And I've watched the 97, but like I was like 2 years old. I was at the 2015. The quality of game in this one was way better.
Way better than all of those. Than pretty much any grand final ever.
Yeah.
Like,
it's one of the best rugby league games of all time.
Seriously crazy rugby. Like the level of play that we saw that night and just the explosive speed and strength and size, both those sides on that night would have probably beaten not every team, but
a lot.
Well, I mean, statistically, we saw it from, I think it was Random Stats guy, that Broncos would have beaten 75% of other grand final sides with that score.
With that score against the best I think the second best defensive side in 1 year of all time in the NRL era. I'm pretty sure Dragons 2010.
Yep.
And then it's like Penrith. There could be one or two more, but it's very, very close.
Essentially one of the best defensive sides ever in the history of the game.
And certainly over a 3-year period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, shit, man. Quality game. So 5 minutes in, Min's not keen. Not keen.
Neither.
Not keen. Now we've got New Zealand versus Samoa.
Fuck this New Zealand side. That 4-pack.
I just wish they had the best 9 there. And no disrespect to Farman Brown, like, you know, he may go out and play really well, but obviously Brandon Smith or JMK are a better option at this stage.
For sure.
And as I said the other day, I hope Brown steps up and kills it, because if he does, this is a scary Kiwi side. It looks red hot. And I said this going into the World Cup, it was the first time, in my opinion, like in my experience, and I'm sure that you guys, there's listeners that are going, hang on a sec, what about 2008, 2012 or whatever? Look at this side. But I personally believe that World Cup Kiwi side was the first time that I really looked at it on paper, but not only on paper, but also on form.
Yeah.
Where that all of the players they had in it were one of the best in their positions in the NRL. So I think past Kiwi sides you could have on paper were as good as the Aussie side, like on like paper to a degree.
Yeah.
But they might have had like only one player playing career best footy or one of the best in the competition. Or, you know, they had a guy, like I'll just randomly use a name, like Benji Marshall, but it wasn't 2005, it was 2000 and...
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Whatever,
he's not at his peak.
Yeah.
And so, whereas you looked at that World Cup side, I feel sorry for them that they landed with Australia in the semi.
The semis, yeah. They get forgotten about very, very quickly because of Australia versus Samoa.
Yeah, Australia in the whole Samoa situation, but they nearly beat Australia. They really did. And
how good was that? How good was that semi? Was that the game you were in that restaurant?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so this Kiwi side, like, if they can just keep this together, Hughes, Brown, definitely got at least another 4 or 5 years together. I like the selection of Chance at the back there. I think that, you know, Joey Manu, I love Joey Manu, but just the ball playing, I think that Chance is going to offer a bit better ball playing. Yeah. And Joey can come in and do his thing. Yeah, he can come in and do his thing. So this Kiwi side, I really like it. It all really just hinges on if the 9 can give good service to Hughes and Brown can click early, then far out. I think Brown might be in for a big one. Because think about it, he had so many weeks off.
Yeah.
He's going to want to, you know, pay everything back because of the mistakes he made. I think he's in for a big game.
Yeah, I agree. Especially off the back of that 4-pack. Like that 4-pack from New Zealand is genuinely scary.
Crazy. Like there is an argument to be made. Oh, actually, Tino and Payne Haas.
Yeah.
But like there's an argument made. It's an argument to be made that last year's Kiwi side forward pack was better than the Australian forward pack.
For sure.
I mean, look, Leota and Fisher-Harris.
You could still argue.
For
For sure.
Because Leota and Fisher-Harris, they're 3-time premiership winning.
Yeah.
Do they have the stats and the big situations like Haas and Tino? Maybe not. I mean, they did in the fucking grand final. They did in the fucking grand final for sure. But yeah, you could argue it. If you want to say Leota and Fisher-Harris as a combo are better than Tino and Haas right now,
yeah,
it's a reasonable take.
Yeah.
I disagree. But in saying that, we haven't seen Tino and Haas versus Leota and Fisher-Harris.
Yeah.
So right now, the back-to-back-to-back front row pairing, you'd have to say are the tippity top.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I'm thinking in the same boat. Like, great matchup. I definitely have Haas and Tino ahead, but far out. But even if you look at the back row, like Tarpanee, Nikora, and Papali'i versus Isaiah /Carrigan, whoever, Cam Murray, Liam Martin.
Yeah.
Like, that's a great battle as well.
Fucking massive battle. A massive battle. Yeah, so I can't wait for them to play Australia, which would be next week, correct?
Yeah, so this week, New Zealand versus Samoa. So yeah, it'll be next Saturday, I believe.
Now, Samoa are really brave last week, but
sure.
I think New Zealand have a massive game.
I agree.
I think New Zealand are going to win 13 plus.
Yep. Yeah, the line's 16. I reckon that's pretty good to cover. Yeah, I'm all on New Zealand, I reckon.
Jeez. Isn't Michael Maguire under a bit of pressure?
It's funny. So now I'm kind of, as a Blues fan, I'm kind of more invested.
Yeah.
Like I just want to see how the Kiwis go.
Because if they go shit, like if they win by 2 points,
yeah,
you're going to be like, bro, with that roster,
yeah,
you beat Samoa, who's missing fucking
a lot of players
by up to try. You're going to be going, mate, you got to get more out of that roster. So, yeah. A bit of pressure on Michael Maguire.
A lot of pressure.
Because think about it. Let's say they go out and lose to Samoa and they get pumped by Australia.
Well, How can you announce him as Blues coach after that?
Well, it's already been announced.
Well, it has. It hasn't. But yeah.
Well, fuck. Could you imagine if
They pulled the
they pulled the plug? You know what? Wouldn't put it past them. Wouldn't. But imagine the pressure then. Imagine they get done by Samoa, get beaten by Australia. Everyone's going.
Everyone will be off it.
Oh no!
But equally, imagine New Zealand win the or the Pacific Championship.
Yeah, then it's like, oh shit.
Oh shit.
Everyone going, oh, Michael Maguire, not a very good option. Starting to say, hang on a sec, maybe we were wrong. So
isn't it funny how just that one little origin thing has put a whole extra layer on this Pacific Championship?
That one little origin thing has changed. Michael Maguire, like I honestly feel like it wasn't last year at the World Cup. It wasn't a big deal that Michael Maguire was a coach. Like it wasn't a talking point. No one, yeah, he's a coach. Good, great stuff. Yeah. Now you add in that origin layer. It's like a huge fucking point of this Pacific Games. Yeah. It's maybe outside of Australia or Samoa or New Zealand winning, it might even be the biggest.
It probably
narrative.
is. Yeah.
You know, because if he comes out and kills it, he's the next coming.
Yeah.
If he comes out and struggles, it's fucking dire straits.
Yeah, equally. Yeah. Oh man, so true. Can't wait to. Yeah, I'm so. As I said, I'm so invested as a Blues fan now. This is crazy.
Now Cook Islands versus Fiji. I can't wait to see Fiji play.
Yeah, keen as.
I'm keen as to see them play. I'm really excited to see where they can go as a nation.
Yeah. As a team.
You know, trying to look at their side. Obviously, it's not as strong as either Samoa or Tonga or whatever. But
isn't it funny that last year in the mid-season games is when we all discovered Taruva?
True.
And that wasn't. What's that? A year and 3 months ago?
Yeah.
Seems like he's been around forever now.
Yeah.
And now he's playing because he was fullback then. I'm pretty sure he was fullback in that game.
Yeah.
Now he's playing.
I think we were already aware of Taruva, but I think everyone else.
He got it. Yeah, he got a bit.
Yeah.
He got mainstream.
But Fiji, can't wait to see Cook Islands.
Man, that back line for Fiji.
It's pretty bloody good.
Dream Buller, Mike Acevo, Taruva, Wonga, Blake, Ravalawa.
Pretty bloody good.
Fucking awesome.
Try tackling them. Jesus. Tackling concrete. Oh. Yeah. Okay. So that's your rugby league brought to you by Sportsbet. Make sure to use Sportsbet if you're going to have a punt. If not, just chill out. Weird story. Polish cops snag thief who pretended to be a mannequin. A Polish man has been arrested after he pretended to be a mannequin in front of a store window before stealing from a shopping centre after it closed, police in Warsaw said. A 22-year-old with a bag in his hand froze motionless, pretending to be a mannequin in front of a shop window. Police said in a statement, in this way he wanted to avoid being exposed by the cameras. After the shopping centre closed, the man on one occasion robbed a jewellery stand. He then went into a restaurant to eat before slipping under the roller shutters at the entrance to a store to swap his clothes for new ones, police said. Afterwards, he returned to have some more food.
I feel like it's the oldest trick in the book, but I've never actually heard of anyone actually trying it.
Doing it.
Yeah.
Like, how do a real person get away with that?
Yeah.
Like, what employees are working there?
You see it in cartoons when like there's a chase and like someone like a cartoon's just standing there.
Yeah.
But you never see it in real life.
Like someone's like, who the hell was working there and was like, yep, closing everything down. Oh, there's a fucking new mannequin there. What an idiot!
I'll tell you what it is. It's someone working there who's
Doesn't
on
give a
minimum wage and doesn't give a fuck.
That's the strangest thing about owning your own business is coming to grips with the fact, and like it still doesn't fully compute. But coming to grips with the fact that people that work for you are just earning a wage. Like, it's not their life's work. They don't, like, they care, but they don't really care, like, that much.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, to me, it's, bloke is everything. This is my whole life's work. This is do or die. This means so much to me. Like, it's my family and it's bloke. That's it. That's all that matters. Family, friends, and bloke. That's all that matters in my life. Whereas, like, someone working for me, they get paid a wage. Like, they might go and get another job in a year or two's time, and it doesn't mean shit to them. Yeah, it is so weird trying to get that in your head.
Yeah, and it's crazy that like most people are employees. Yeah. Most people don't give.
Yeah, and it's like, and it's frustrating. Not frustrating, but it's like, as an owner, you're like, and we're really lucky. We got some. I mean, I'm really lucky. I think all our employees are fantastic. And like, you want to say to them, like, I promise you, if you put in, I'm loyal as anything, you'll have a great life. But maybe they don't want that. Like maybe they want to do something else. Maybe this is a stepping stone. So it is weird trying to put that And I think a lot of owners struggle with that, is understanding that, like, mate, when you're going home and thinking about it all day long, and you're stressing about money, and you're stressing about this, and you're trying to generate money to pay their wage, they're not thinking about that.
No, they leave it at the door.
They get their pay slip and they go home.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, you're sitting there going, I've got to generate enough money to pay your wage.
Yeah.
And so as an owner, sometimes you can be like, not here at Bloke, it's been great, especially, the crew we got now.
Yeah.
But, sometimes I do think you see it from both sides. When you're an employee, you're sitting there going, you don't care about me. Like, someone else better comes along, you replace me like that. So why should I give everything I've got when I can get replaced immediately? And then from the owner's side, you're going, you don't know the stress I've gone through to pay your wage.
Yeah.
You don't know all the things I'm going through to make sure that you have money in your account every single week. You know what I'm saying?
No, for sure.
But look, and there's the flip side of that, of the employee saying, well, actually, I generate revenue. But a lot of companies are set up so that, certain people generate the most kind of revenue, and then everyone else kind of comes underneath that umbrella. And so, it is a very, like, it's cool to see both sides. And I understand both sides. I really do. I've been there.
Been both sides.
I've been there. I've worked, as I said, when I left footy, worked in bars and everything. It's funny. I saw the picture we put up on the Hello Sport thing of 6 years ago, helping the bar fit out.
Yeah.
Man, honestly, starting your own business, if you knew what you were about to get into, you probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
It's good that you go in naive. Because if you went in knowing, like, the stress that's going to come with it, you just wouldn't. You'd say, like, mate, I'm just going to go work for a very safe company that, you get your paycheck. Yeah, okay, I get treated pretty poorly or whatever by one of the big corporations. That's a scary thing about, this, like, late stage capitalism or whatever, is that when you're thinking about odds and stress and life and everything, why would you start your own business? Why not work for a mega corporation that you are safe as houses? Like, you're protected by government law. As long as you turn up and do your job, your paycheck is guaranteed. You're all good.
And you're constantly, like, climbing.
Yeah. And
so, like, you're getting money up and up and up.
So it's like the corporations just get bigger and bigger and bigger, because it's like, well, why would I go and work for a small business when it could be gone in a year and all that work for nothing? And also, like, look, this is just a fully layman's terms. I'm not some master businessman. I'm really not. I'm just a dude that happened to go okay. But I just think, like, in Australia and every country, governments don't incentivize small business enough. Like, when you think about it, okay, you're going to start a small business. Think about the risk you're about to take. So all that money you've saved up to do it, you're no longer an employee. Your whole life is dedicated to running a business, a small business. So let's say at the end of the year, you earn $75,000. Once all costs are done, all employees are paid, the business made a profit of 75 grand. Because like, most owners are only earning 75, let's say 100 max.
Yeah.
Or you could go get your apprenticeship done, work as a chippy or whatever, or in a bar, or all the other odd jobs that you can do without any of the stress.
Yeah.
Like, most small business owners are not on $200,000-$300,000 a year. They're not. So it's like, what incentive is there for small business to innovate, because you don't get anything extra and you actually are most likely going to shut down? I think it's like one in. Could you get up how many small businesses shut down? It's like 9 out of 10 small businesses shut down. So, like, what's the incentive for small business? And that's where a lot of innovation comes from, is small businesses. And it's kind of like, I wish there was a way where the government could somehow incentivize the creation of small business. Because at the moment, it's like, it's almost, you're up against a battle from the beginning. And yeah, you see all the success stories. You don't see the thousands and thousands of people that have now lost 10 years of savings. They've got all this stuff to pay off. They're way back at the start line and they've got to go back into the workforce.
Estimates are that 1 in 3 new small businesses in Australia fail in the first year, 2 out of 4 by the end of the second, and 3 out of 4 by the fifth.
3 out of 4 by the fifth year.
Yeah.
So when you look at that, you go, what's the incentive for small business and
that's just failing. That's not like becoming rich.
Yeah.
Like that's not 25% being millionaires. That's 25% just
surviving.
Yeah, surviving.
So it's like, where's the incentive?
Yeah.
What's the point? Okay, you get to say you did it. Matt, you just like spent all your life savings and now you're back at square one that's 4 years. If you took the energy that you put that 4 years into your small business, imagine if you did that in a huge corporation. You'd be fucking near the top by the end of it.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't make sense. The balance, there's no balance there. There's no reason for it, And so I look, as I said, people way more intelligent than me come up with our policies and whatever, but I just don't know whether I just think that small business should be incentivized more. Like, okay, tell me this. Why shouldn't a person, a man or a woman, who works 80 hours a week, provides a good service, why shouldn't they be on 200 grand a year?
Well, they should.
But likelihood they're not.
They're not, yeah.
And I'm sure people are going to sit there, it's because they weren't providing good service. No, it's not that simple.
No,
it's not that simple.
Of course not.
Like, there are plenty of people that provide incredible services. But, for example, if you're a huge corporation and a fruit shop opens next door to you and you're a huge supermarket, so you've got all these different products, all these different products that you sell, let's say 1,000 of them.
Yep.
Fruit shop opens next door. So you go, okay, fruit shops, okay, yep, the fruit is a little bit fresher. It's maybe there's more of an options or whatever. The owners are more nicer to walk in and do it. So if you're a huge supermarket, what do? You go, okay, you know what we're going to do? We're going to up the price on things that we don't have a competitor for. So let's say you can't buy a shaver, a razor, for 100 kilometers, like the local community can't. So what we're going to do is instead of charging $5 for razors, we're going to charge $10, but then we're going to reduce our fruit price by $5. So we make a loss on our fruit. We make it back with the razor. We put them out of business because they can't compete with our prices because they're just selling fruit. So, that's how it works. In the beer industry, taps get bought or we'll build your taps. You have to have 80% of our beer, so that stops, smaller beers or whatever. Basically, all new beers are competing for essentially 1 or 2 taps in the thing. Which, look, again, I understand why the big dogs do it. They're protecting their ground. They started their business. They built it up. That's the way it is. That's just the way it is. There's no whinging or complaining. You've got to find ways around it. Yeah. But people that think, if you provide a good service and you work your ass off, you definitely will make it. It's actually not true. It's more nuanced than that. Sure. And so I reckon that there should be more incentive. And this is not even we're a small business, but the bloke brand is probably pushed past that now. Yeah. This is more, so I'm not talking about myself at all. I'm talking more about the local cafe or local supplement store or clothing store that has, a mum and dad that run it and they just want to earn $80,000 each and they love hospitality. That's their passion. They love it. I think that we should be in a situation where our country should find a way to make that as possible as it can be, rather than almost impossible, essentially impossible. 2 people, really good at what they do, really passionate at what they do, willing to work hard, they should be able to earn a decent wage, just like the same person that works at a huge corporation and does fucking nothing. Literally, if you're being honest with yourself, there's a lot of people that work in huge corporations that actual deep work, maybe 3 hours a day. Yeah. Maybe 3 hours a day.
For sure.
Which is, okay, it's fine. That's, everyone's choice. So, but they're more likely to earn good coin. Yeah. Or, safe coin than...
Safe coin and good coin, really.
And coin. But the flip side against that is huge risk, huge reward. Yeah. If you do make it as a business, then...
You're flying.
You're flying. Yeah. So the argument could be made, if the benefits are so big that's why the risk is so big. That's why a lot of people can't do it. Because if a lot of people could do it, then you wouldn't earn that much money if you do break through. Anyway, who gives a shit? We'll go and fuck ourselves.
Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.